Superficial scribblings on sexism. Superficial scribblings on life. Who the fuck needs criticism when I can always be right? Here we are once again for episode 12. Which, try not to put this on the shelf. Sorry, I was trying to rhyme like I did the previous episode, even though that was technically 11 and not 10. This bitch again. This fucking supposedly female comedian who complains about rape jokes, tries to tell you how to make a rape joke by essentially not talking about a rape joke, and now, in my third consecutive episode, trashing Mrs. Lindy West, a fucking Jezebel, about her little self-entitlement complex with this particular article called, "Hey men, I'm funnier than you," because as we've all seen, that she's definitely a funny bitch, even though I have yet to laugh at any of the fucking jokes she's made, nor have I been able to even find them to be a joke. At least it was difficult for me to notice they were jokes. I don't know, maybe I guess I'm just socially retarded or something. Anyhow, let's fucking dive in. This is the last fucking time I'm gonna get at this bitch. Apparently she lost her job at Jezebel or something, or moved to The Guardian. And we all know The Guardian's also a fucking website entrenched in this so-called social justice. Anyhow, let's get into it. Oh, great! Let's talk some more about how women aren't funny. Science performed yet another study of terrible people, and surprise! Unearthed terrible results. Apparently, women in their workplace are incapable of making funny jokes. Men's jokes, on the other hand, receive laughs 90% of the time. Could I get a citation for this? Because I know where you're going to lead up to is that this is fucking sexist, blah, 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 blah. The reason? Well, science checked with conventional wisdom, and conventional wisdom explained that men in general are the funnier sex. Cool story, bros. Tell it again. You can tell that she's extremely offended. It's actually kind of funny in an ironic sense. Anyhow, let's keep going. A study of executive-level meetings at 7 large companies in the UK, half of the meetings were led by women, half by men, who the fuck cares, found drastic differences in both the types of jokes told by each gender and the general response to those jokes. Women often resort to self-deprecating humor, with 70% of female senior professionals joking about themselves in a somewhat negative light, Baxter's research found, as reported in The Telegraph. Still, this didn't seem to earn chuckles. More than 80% of women's jokes were met with silence. Meanwhile, 90% of jokes made by men were greeted with immediate laughter or approval. As a result, men were 3 times more likely to joke while leading a meeting. So the fuck what? Now, I don't have any problem with this study per se. You're probably going to prove that you do have a problem with this study. It's just a collection of data verifying a phenomenon that we're all aware of, which is baffling, wondering why you got so offended from the previous paragraph, which is that nobody thinks women are funny and nobody laughs at women's jokes. Not that nobody does, you bitch. It's just not as fucking many, you... It didn't say... whatever. I know that you pretty much looked over that since it said more than 80% of women's jokes were met with silence, so there is still some jokes that men and women find funny. My problem is with the reporting on this study, which is essentially the whole entire study, and others like it, which, without fail, credulously latches on to a titillating but fundamentally sexist notion that women might just be biologically less funny than men. Oh, of course. Because when science finds out that women don't have as much muscle mass biologically as men, that's a fucking sexist thing. Okay, yeah, that might be fundamentally sexist, but that's not oppressive. That's not exactly a negative connotation there. Everything has a sexist notion. Feminism is a sexist notion. It's not exactly negative, but it has been seen in an extremely negative fucking light. And that's a problem for you. And either you want to change this, or you just want to ignore it. And based on the fucking title, you have a self-entitlement complex. You have insecurities about yourself as a fucking comedian, because, as I've seen with your other posts, I haven't been able to laugh at anything you've made apparent jokes about, since how the fuck can a social justice warrior or a feminist even be funny, since they pretty much hate the concept of humor overall? Anyhow, SF Gate, for example, makes sure to consult some fucking guy. Apparently Michael Kerr is not just some fucking guy. A motivational speaker and expert on humor in the workplace says this is due in part to how men and women are socialized. I know with my own surveys and other research I've read that both sexes tend to agree that men in general are the funnier sex, he says in an email interview. What seems to be a consistent theme is that men are more likely to be humor creators, whereas women tend to appreciate the humor more and laugh more easily than men do. Oh, sexist society, patriarchy. Oh, men happen to be funny and women appreciate that. Oh, that's just horrible. That's just horrible. We gotta change that. Ooh. It doesn't matter if the women who are trying to make the jokes don't know how to make fucking jokes. Fuck it. Let's just have them throw out jokes right out of the water. Even a psychology study published in 2011 by UC San Diego concluded that men were slightly funnier than women. Sexist, misogyny, God. This fucking article is just so plagued with patriarchy. What are we going to do with ourselves, knowing that these articles are just so fucking abhorrently sexist? Maybe we will have hashtag activism. Yes, all women. No all men. Kill all men. Blah 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 blah. You know, we need more of that, of course. Anyhow, let's actually get to what she's going to respond. No, it is not due in part to how men and women are socialized. It is due entirely to how men and women are socialized. Oh, but psychology says men are the funniest? Well, I guess we're done here. It certainly couldn't be that women just shut up and laugh because we're trained from birth that we're supposed to be pleasant, pliable, and inoffensive, and that we should pander to men at all times lest be labeled an undesirable. Be the change you want to see, you dumb bitch. If that's indicative of our society, why are you fucking latching onto it? Why are you complaining about it and not trying to fucking subvert it, huh? Because you didn't. You fucking didn't. And women can be wherever the fuck they want to be, you know? If you don't want to fucking shave your armpit hair, that's fine, but good luck trying to get attention for that. And if you're trying to get attention for that, then obviously what you did wasn't really something of your own mission. You just want it because you wanted to be a fucking target. No, the obvious explanation, obviously, is that every time a woman tries to tell a joke, an invisible dream catcher telescopes out of her vagina and snatches it from the air. Science. Or baffling fucking nonsense. You know what? It's true, actually. Most women aren't funny. So, what was the previous point you were making that you got so fucking butthurt about? But that's because most people aren't funny. Being funny is like any other artistic skill, but to lead it successfully requires outspokenness, unapologetic honesty, supreme self-assuredness, and an outright refusal to pander. Doesn't that sound like the pandering that you were doing, saying that, oh, we need to stop doing rape jokes, or that you have to do it a certain way? If you're not funny to me, then every rape joke you make is actually offensive and not intentioned to be a joke. Right? You fucking hypocrite. And those aren't exactly the traits we foster in our little girls. Instead, we go with mistrust of other women, an extreme longing for expensive garbage, and the idea that being pretty is more important than being smart. Oh, here's your toy, girls. It's a fake baby that poops fake poop into a fake diaper for you to fake clean up. Have fun playing. Don't you think some of these things are being pressured by other women? Does that air through your head? Do you think that women take a precedence on their looks because other women say that they need to take a precedence on their looks? Don't you think so? Don't you think that women take a precedence on their looks because men are visual creatures? Because we are visual creatures? Oh, I'm oppressive. Fuck. Yeah, when I say something that's apparently sexist defined, such as men being visual creatures, oh, that's a power fantasy. We are empowering ourselves with that. But whenever there's something of a unique characteristic to a woman that could be empowering, oh, that's fucking misogyny. Of course. We don't jump to these conclusions when it comes to any other skill. Women aren't encouraged to be auto mechanics either. Because they don't want to be, you know? You know, not as many women want to be auto mechanics. It's not that they're not being discouraged, or that they themselves are discouraging themselves from doing it because they don't want to fucking do it. It'd be like saying, oh, men are being discouraged to be fucking nurses or kindergarten teachers. Fuck. So most auto mechanics aren't women, but only the most misogynistic dumbass would suggest that is because their tiny woman braids are broom-shaped instead of wrench-shaped. Well, then I guess you are a fucking misogynistic dumbass, right? Because that's pretty much what you're saying. Is that because, or, well, I guess you'd be a misandric fucking dumbass that would suggest that that with these tiny women brains, that these fucking powerful men are going to fucking exploit and keep them from working fucking auto mechanic jobs for the plight of fucking patriarchy. God, this is just fucking conspiracy theory shit. Put your fucking tin hat on. We're gonna dive into the fucking void. The reason that people don't respond well to women's self-deprecating jokes is because they don't read as jokes. Obviously not. They read as uncomfortable confessions because our society trains women to hate them. Wow. Even though... Oh, man. Wow. So, women are making self-deprecating jokes because our society trains women to hate themselves. And what kind of purpose would this suffice? What kind of purpose would this come to, huh? Tell me fucking how. Oh, you don't have one? Then obviously you're just fucking barking in the dark. Okay? You know, it's, you know, if a woman wants to make fun of herself, that's fine. I mean, for the detriment, if she wants to make fun at the detriment of herself, that's fine. You know, some fucking women can find that empowering. Of course, though, you think it's consistently, all the time, they hate themselves. God. Fuck. Men are told from birth that their ideas are just as important as their bodies. Men are encouraged to be bold and loud. Throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks over and over again. And that's exactly where great comedy comes from. Or that men are completely unhinged. Biologically. Usually. Comedy clubs are almost always run by men and they're safe spaces for men. Oh, of course. Well, I guess it would be true if fucking feminist retards like yourself, I mean, technically you haven't really said you were a feminist, you said you were like a social activist and shit, so I guess you're technically a social justice whiner. But, yeah, of course comedy clubs are going to be dominated by men because clearly they know how to fucking do jokes. And women can be part of the comedy clubs too if they're willing, if they know how to fucking do jokes. You have pretty much self-inserted yourself into the comedy space because less women do it than men, and you're just pretty much doing it because I'm a fucking woman. Pay attention to me. I'm a female comedian. Pay attention to me. And nobody's paying a fucking mind to you. Because you're not there to fucking make jokes. You're just fucking making it all about your fucking self. How about you go fucking make jokes in the fucking mirror? That's about as much attention you're going to get. Anyhow, I can't tell you how many times I've heard a male host introduce a female comedian by saying, and here's your obligatory girl comic for the night. Citation needed! And didn't she say this in like 2 episodes before or something? Seems familiar. Any female comedians who are bold enough show up have to sit through 87 shitty, edgy jokes about how they deserve to be raped and murdered for not liking video games enough. What? Did you just go the Anita Sarkeesian route? I'm not even gonna regard that. A completely run-of-the-mill example I heard recently. Last night, I brought this girl home, but she was being really loud during sex, so I told her, shh, you don't want to turn this rape into a murder. It's a deeply uncomfortable environment. Well, fucking leave that deeply uncomfortable environment instead of fucking complaining about it or heckling the person who's making a joke. Because, as I've said the previous 2 fucking episodes, if you don't fucking like the joke, you can fucking leave. If you don't like the fucking video game, it makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to fucking play it. If you think video games are gross, ooh, I don't want to blow people's hands off, then you don't fucking have to play it. But good luck to you, Miss Lindy West, to tell other people how to make jokes when you get so fucking offended when people make other jokes. And I say that not as a shy, funny girl at her first open mic, but as a woman who's already achieved a certain level of comedic credibility. Who the fuck are you? And then the conclusion, when successful male comedians outnumber successful female comedians 10-1, obvious because women just aren't funny. Not like my rape jokes, I'm a maverick. Well, since you're being so fucking careful to filter them out because, like I've said, you think that fucking rape jokes principally should not even be discussed. Yeah, I really doubt any of your fucking rape jokes are actually going to be funny since you're not going to try to tread any fucking uncomfortable waters. When all jokes are supposed to be offended, and all jokes are supposed to be crude, and all jokes are supposed to be absurd. But as for somebody who clearly demonstrates comedic credibility, you already knew that. So why the fuck am I telling you this? Oh, because you actually don't. Kind of weird, don't you think? So, I'm a woman, and I'm really fucking funny all the time. Wow, just fucking filleting yourself, huh? Aren't you? Right? Because I've yet to have even smirked, giggled, or even smiled at any of the purported jokes you've made because you've been so fucking enthusiastic about the jokes you've been making. I kind of take them as a sentiment, actual sentiment, in earnest, not jokes. Like, you're not being funny. You're actually coming off as being serious and genuine. It's probably because since I'm reading this in the context of just characters that I'm not getting like some kind of like if I was to say like not like my rape jokes, I'm a maverick, just saying it all condescendingly like, oh, that wasn't supposed to be serious. Attention trolls, I know that you are so excited about this big gaping troll hole I just presented to you, and you can't wait to tell me that you don't think I'm funny and you could do my job better than me. I probably could, but since I decided not to, it's just not really my bag of tea. That is totally fine. A lot of people don't think I'm funny, but enough people do think I'm funny, which apparently means that you are funny all the time. That, fucking confirmation, self-confirmation, that they give me money to be funny. So unless people give you money to be funny, I am probably funnier than you. The end. Okay. People are still going to troll you about that little annotation too. That, no, you're still not funny. Because, the aim of defeating a troll is not to play, you stupid cunt. And now you've pretty much landed right into their fucking trap. Bravo. Another clap. Encore. Encore. I'm the person who the streak of conventional wisdom contends doesn't exist. And in my experience, that's exactly what being a funny woman feels like. It feels like you do not exist. I also have a somewhat gender ambiguous name, which means that I get frequent emails from readers assuming I am a man. Oh, great. You don't even know what fucking gender you are. Great. So you're not even a fucking woman. I spend a lot of my time hanging out with comedians. The first time she actually used that fucking word correctly in this article, which means that I spend a lot of my time being ignored, not looked at, and talked over by men who are less funny than I am. Based on your fucking, what you think is a fucking joke. Okay? Yeah, there can be fucking women who are funnier than men. I'm not going to say that's not true. But this is completely subjective by your opinion. What if I was in there and I found those men to be funnier than you, huh? Oh, I'm fucking misogynist, clearly. Clearly. Because I'm in favor of them because they have a fucking penis. I have a penis, so obviously, I'm going to take their jokes. I'm going to laugh at their jokes more. Don't you think that in the midst of you bitching and complaining about all these jokes, that people happen to find them not by the virtue of the genitals, but the virtue of their skill? Don't you think? And yes, there is a somewhat inherent biological bias that men are usually funnier than women. But that does not mean that women can't be funny. It doesn't mean that women can't be funnier than men. It's just a fucking pattern, okay? It's like, noticing, a lot of fucking black people like fucking KFC. There are gonna be fucking black people who fucking hate KFC. There are gonna be white people who love KFC more than black people do. It's just a pattern, okay? It's okay, it's perfectly fine for black people to stem away from that fucking pattern. It's just, these fucking stereotypes exist for a reason because we catch on to patterns real easily. They're easy to, notice. Like if somebody comes to late 5 minutes, or comes to work 5 minutes late every single day, you'll catch on, oh, yeah, I'm expecting this person to be late 5 minutes to work. Is that somehow fucking oppressive? Apparently so. To be heard, you have to shout. Like a fucking wailing cunt who needs attention, right? And when you shout, you're a bitch. Because you're wailing like a fucking cunt saying, pay attention to me! I'm obviously funnier than you! God. Being a funny woman is also extremely defeminizing. If you don't act like a woman, then you don't count as a woman. If you don't act like a comedian, then you're not a fucking comedian, huh? Wow, what a fucking shocker. If you don't act like a fucking gamer, you're not a gamer. Wow. Mind-boggling. How would I have ever possibly have comprehended that? Which I suspect is why so many female comedians lean on women jokes. My vibrator, my mother-in-law, my vibrating chocolate mother-in-law. You ever gonna hear a man fucking make a joke about his fucking vibrator, unless that's his fucking fetish? No, probably not. Or about his mother-in-law. Well, there are some men who talk about their mother-in-law if they're like a fucking, like, essentially, like, acting like a fucking witch. Rather than just telling, human being jokes. Because we don't want the boys to take away our woman cards. And those are the women with enough faith in their own comedic ability. I said comedic, but she spelled it comic, so, I'm just starting to I'm starting to truck over these stupid fucking terms she's using incorrectly. To actually attempt stand-up comedy. Your average business casual lady in the break room? Forget it! Bottom line, when a male comedian bombs at an open mic, it's because that dude sucks at comedy. Okay, I got you there. When a female comedian bombs at an open mic, it's because all women are naturally unfunny. Wow. I was almost hoping that she might just have a smidgen of fucking self-realization and just say the same thing, that is because that woman sucks at comedy. No, absolutely not. I didn't think so. One particular woman bombs at a fucking comedy show, and then it's that society completely declares that all women are not funny because that one woman wasn't funny. Unbelievable, you fucking cunt. And if you believe that, then I feel sorry for you. Yeah, I feel sorry for you if you believe that. Because your brain sucks. Yeah, touche. And also because you're going to miss out on a lot of really fucking great jokes. Yeah, I am. About all of them non-rape jokes, the filter G-rated jokes. Yeah, I'm gonna miss those, alright. And as with the other two, gonna read the fucking comments. I think this person's actually being not serious, so let's read it. Pretty much every time that a guy sucks at something is because that guy sucks at something. But women suck at driving, math, and exact sciences in general, sports, writing, specifically fiction, etc. I'm a political scientist, specializing in feminist political theory and legislative studies, which means I study women in legislative politics, which means that I must be in a social movement, and I must be exaggerating. Yesterday, I got the guts to say something because my advisor, who's a man, always says that my writing comes off as a 70s militant. Like I would make stuff up to prove a point. Like I'm not a fucking scientist. Because I'm a woman studying the lack of women in representation. I must be too invested to actually be impartial and do the work I trained to do for 6 years. How can someone be so dense and to not realize how offensive that is? Anyway, sorry. I need a vent, and it seems like you, Wendy, have faced some similar shit. Thank you for the perspective in the forum. I have to wonder if that actually was not supposed to be funny, because I was actually hoping that was supposed to be like satire. Dear study, I give you Margaret Cho, Selena Luna, Amy Poehler, Kristen Wiig, Tina Fey, Jenna Fischer, Joan Rivers, Christina Applegate, Jane Lynch, Sarah Silverman, Wanda Sykes, Christian Scow, Minnie Kaling, Maya Rudolph, Porta de Rossi, Jessica Walter, the hundreds of women I performed burlesque with, seriously, video search April Peel or Betsy Bottom Dollar, Total Rad Sauce, also go fuck yourself study. Even though the study was based in like the workplace, like, you know, fucking office cubicles. These women are doing stand-up, so they fucking do comedy for a fucking living. Okay? So you got your fucking study wrong. Show me some fucking women who are making jokes in the workplace that are actually fucking funny, huh? Yeah, you're not gonna find that much. You fucking hypocrite. So how come women are always saying that one thing they value in a guy is that he makes them laugh? Most guys wouldn't care less if a potential partner makes them laugh. It must be true. I read on the cover of Cosmo. I can't answer it. Your comment just stuck out to me because I say it a lot. Everybody wants someone that makes them laugh. Somebody that's fun in general. Thing is, guys are taught that they have to go for the tits first. Well, they're being taught by the wrong people. And that, you know, if all men are being taught to go for the fucking tits first, not for like the ass or for the brain, I don't know. Girls are taught that what is inside is what counts. I think I'm funny. People, guys and coos, always laugh at my jokes, but you can imagine the pressure they feel to be funny. Alright, last one, Zoofers 1. So he adds a little annotation of her quote, which was the whole thing, women are encouraged to be auto mechanics either. This is a stupid debate, but I certainly tend to think that the reason people go into different careers, including auto mechanics, has to do with biological differences between men and women. That's difficult to prove or disprove, of course, but why should it be dismissed as misogynistic? It's an argument that should be based on science, not ideology. Maybe, you know, men's and women's brains are just different. Saying that the difference in humor between men and women are entirely due to how men and women are socialized seems to me to be a statement of faith and a factual statement you can prove or disprove. How can you tell? You can't. But here we go. And response, flower bitch. I think part of the problem is that a lot of people don't understand the difference between general tendencies and universal truths. So many of the people arguing in favor of biological gender differences, such as a lot of evo psych types talk about how it is hardwired into women's brains, for example, as though all women's brains are the same, rather than there being general patterns that are similar between them, but which are going to manifest differently with each woman and may not be present at all with some women. I think the very existence of transgender people debunks the notion that gender is entirely socially constructed. True. Which is why trans people tend to make some radical feminists very uncomfortable. But saying that gender is not purely a social phenomenon does not mean that everyone who falls into a particular category of male or female experiences or expresses it in the same way. In short, something can be biologically based without being hardwired. True. It's a good fucking point. I really wish fucking Lindy West would understand that, but she thinks that a biological tendency is always a fucking universal truth. Even though I just made an example before that, yeah, a lot of black people tend to like fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken, or just typically just fried chicken. Not all of them do, but a lot of them do. A lot of fucking women like pink baby toys. Is that fucking a problem? No. It's just a fucking pattern. It's just something we fucking notice. It's not a fucking truth in all regards. There can be fucking women who watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There can be fucking guys who play fucking, boys who play fucking Barbie dolls. How about the fucking brony community, for example? A whole bunch of fucking men watching a show that was initially fucking delegated towards a fucking 6-year-old female audience. Clearly, there can be a fucking line. It's not like right in the fucking... right in the middle. Right in the fucking middle. So anyhow, that was it. It's the last fucking time I'm scoring this bitch. She has a fucking entitlement complex. She has an insecurity complex. She also apparently holds fucking social justice warrior numbers, which is pretty much the last nail in the coffin to your fucking comedic credibility. Because how the fuck can you have comedic credibility when you're somebody who fucking hates even the concept of fucking humor? Since everything apparently offends you. So, that's my sign off. Still a fucking sexist, misogynist, privileged fuck because of the virtue of my skin and the fact I have a penis and balls. I'm very sorry, feminist. I really wish I made a better decision before I was even fucking conceived. Sorry.